Panther tank is often regarded as one of the finest, if flawed, German tanks fielded during the Second World War. However, even as the first examples were rolling off the production line, issues were already beginning to arise. The turret in particular was criticized for the gun mantlet's propensity to become a shot trap. Rounds would strike the mantlet and deflect down onto the thinly armored hull top. While the mantlet would undergo slight modification, another solution was a complete redesign of the turret, providing improved protection with little to no increase in weight. This variant would become known as the Panther Ausführung F. Design of the turret would be completed during the war, but none would see action before its end. Hello and welcome to another Tank Encyclopedia voiced article. I'm your host Tony, and today I'll be covering the Panther F, one of the final variants of Germany's late war medium. If you like these videos and want to see more, consider donating on Patreon or PayPal. All funds go toward improving these videos for you, the viewers. The redesigned turret for the Panther F originated with a request from Waffenprüfung 6, the German design office for armored vehicles, to Rheinmetall for a new turret for the Panther tank. Key aspects of the new turret were to include a decrease in frontal profile, an increase in protection, as well as a new stereoscopic rangefinder. Conceptual drawings for the turret were complete by at least 1st of March 1943. Some design aspects appear to have been derived from another turret Rheinmetall had designed for the Panther II, a project to up-armor the Panther and standardize components between it and the Tiger I. This design was called the Turmpanther Schmale Blende or Turret Panther Narrow Mantlet. For whatever reason, the design did not meet the expectations of the design office and the task was instead given to Daimler-Benz. Specifications for turret remained the same, but now also included the replacement of the coaxial MG34 with the newer MG42, the minimizing of production cost, as well as the ability to be quickly converted into a command tank and mount infrared night fighting equipment. Daimler-Benz took control of the design process in spring 1944 and worked quickly to produce a Schmalturm or narrow turret. The turret was similar to Rheinmetall's proposal, with the exception that the roof was flat rather than sloping as in their design. But the hexagonal shape, sloping sides and apertures for the rangefinder remained. The new turret was largely successful, weighing 100 kilograms less than the original Panther turret while providing a narrower profile for enemy fire, all while maintaining the original armor values and without compromising internal space. In addition, the new turret also cut production time by about 30 to 40%. Armor protection was equal or superior to that provided by the original turret, with 120mm of armor angled at 20 degrees protecting the front of the turret, with 60mm of armor at 25 degrees protecting the sides and rear. The gun mantlet was 150mm thick and due to its unusual shape, quickly earned the nickname Saukopf, Pig's Head. The hull armor remained unchanged except for the roof where the weakest points were increased from 16 to 25mm to provide additional protection. One of the defining features of German tanks during the war was very good quality optical sights, and the Panther F was intended to be no different. Two sights appear to have been considered, the telescopic TZF-13 and the periscopic SZF-1 for the gunner's use, alongside an observation periscope each for both the commander and loader. Although the first turret had openings for all these sights, the second removed the loader's periscope as well as the gunner's TZF-13 sight. This appears to have been a necessity due to the war, as although over 4,000 of the TZF sight were ordered, only 2 were ever produced. The SZF-1 periscopic sight also offered the advantage of being stabilized, allowing the gunner to maintain a fix on targets even while the tank was in motion. Although the gun was not stabilized, a pre-ignition device may have been included with the sight. The device was a gyroscopic rate of turn indicator that tracked the motion of gun and gun sight. The gunner fired, the pre-ignition device would delay the firing of the gun until both the gun and gun sight were aligned. This would, in theory, allow the Panther to fire accurately while on the move. It is not certain if the pre-ignition device was included with the gun sight or if it was included with an updated model of the sight, the SZF-1B. The gun sight was apparently a very reliable piece of equipment, but most data about it comes from the testimony of Stieler von Kedekampf, president of the Panzer Commission, and with little documentation on the subject, his testimony should be considered with a degree of skepticism. Alongside these conventional sights, an FG-1250 infrared night vision device could be mounted on the commander's cupola, permitting the tank to fight at night with greater effectiveness. The Panther F was one of the few tanks produced during the Second World War to be equipped with a stereoscopic rangefinder. The EM 1.32 rangefinder was 1.32 meter in length and had a magnification of 15 times. No examples were produced as development was to end in April and mass production to start in July. The end of the war naturally ended such aspiration. The main gun of the Panther F was to be the 75mm KWK-44/1 L70, a derivative of the KWK-42 on the Panther. The gun was made more compact by moving the buffer and recuperator from the sides of the gun to below it. An air pump cylinder was provided for the fume extractor, but required 422mm of recoil to activate. To achieve this recoil, the muzzle brake was removed, although some early examples of the gun can be seen with the brake equipped. The KWK-44/2 was a further modification of the 44/1, but included a mechanical reload device. The device was activated by firing of the gun, and would lift a round onto a holder. After the breech opened to eject the casing, the holder would move downwards and a tension spring guide would move the round into the breech. The breech would then close and release the holder back into position to accept another round. Working optimally, the gun could fire a potential 40 rounds per minute, although the device only held 4 rounds. The 44/2 would have required some modification to fit in the Panther F due to the increased weight as well as the extra space it would take up in the turret, although there appear to have been steps taken to mount it. 2 secondary weapons were also mounted in addition to the main gun. The coaxial MG34 was updated to an MG42, while the hull-mounted machine gun was replaced with a Sturmgewehr 44 assault rifle. Another machine gun could also be attached to the commander's cupola. The first Panther F turret was completed in August 1944 and was attached to a production model Panther G hull. A second example was produced in January 1945 and may have also been trialed with the same hull. Production was expected to begin with Daimler-Benz producing the first example in March, with Group Gruson, MAN and Nibelungenwerk to begin production in April, and finally MNH in May. Combined, the 5 companies were ordered to produce 2,940 Panther Fs in 1945. Due to the deteriorating war situation, this order was never completed, and the work schedule was continually pushed back. Group Gruson was expected to produce their first 2 examples in May and Nibelungenwerk in August. 4 of the companies would fail to deliver any examples of the Panther F. Daimler-Benz produced one incomplete model. The hull of a Panther F was combined with the turret of the Panther G. This likely required somewhat extensive modification, as the turret race and traverse gear was not shared between the models. This hybrid seems to have seen service during the Battle of Berlin, possibly with the 2nd Battalion of the 2nd Panzer Regiment. Photographs suggest that a round struck the barrel near the mantlet, resulting in the fracturing of the barrel and causing the tank crew to abandon the vehicle. After the battle, the tank appears to have been moved to a collection point alongside other disabled German vehicles. No further evidence exists as to its fate, and it is likely the hybrid was either scrapped or scuttled. As the Western Allies advanced into Germany, several examples of Panther F turrets lacking components such as rangefinder and gun sights were captured and shipped to the US and the UK. Most examples were scrapped or discarded, and the only surviving turret is currently at the Bovington Tank Museum, after having spent some time as a range target. While the Schmalturm was certainly an improvement over the previous turret designs, it was simply too little too late. By the time the project reached the prototype stage, the Germans were on the back foot on both the west and eastern fronts, and reached the production stage as both Soviet and Allied forces were pushing into Germany proper. Like many other concepts and prototypes, while technologically ahead, it was incomplete by the time it was found. A fascinating insight into the technological acumen of Nazi Germany, but also a relic of a rapidly crumbling regime. This concludes our video on the Panther F. For more information, check out the full article, link in the description. If you enjoyed the video, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to ensure you don't miss a single new video. If you want to help keep the lights on, consider donating on Patreon or PayPal. Until next time, keep us in your sights.